Hey, good Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me for an update here on what's going on with the weather. And we've got a couple things going on out there, including a couple kind of newer developments overnight in the tropics. Again, we've been in a little bit of a lull recently, but some of the models are starting to pick up on this wave that you can see on the map here, kind of moving off of Africa. And they are showing the potential that that may try to develop here towards the end of the month. And I've kind of been talking about that for the past week or so now. Again, I said we'd be in a lull this week, but I said kind of at the end of next week, really next like Wednesday onward, we'll likely see, an uptick in activity. And I think this could be the start of that in the main development region. Also, maybe something in the Gulf or the Caribbean trying to get going as well. We'll talk about that in today's video. And on top of all of that, we've got a severe weather concern back home as a couple storm systems are going to try to work on through the country. And again, could bring a pretty big time severe weather threat for at least a couple days in a row. So again, the weather has been relatively quiet, but things are picking back up here in both the tropics and back into the lower 48. So if you're new here, welcome. My name's Gerald. I'm a meteorology major at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, here to give you the latest information again on that weather pattern currently and what's to come. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We are very close to 9,000 subscribers. I think we're only about 50 or so away, and that's a big goal. And then also the goal after that will be 10,000 by the end of hurricane season, and I really think that we're going to be able to get there. So again, thanks to all of you for tuning back in. Also like the video, comment, let me know where you're watching from, and let me know if you have any exciting weekend plans. Personally, I'm just going to do some homework probably and watch a little bit of college football. We do have a couple games on today, so that should be fun. All right, I think with all that said, let's go ahead and jump on into that forecast because, again, we do have a couple things that we do need to discuss. And we're going to start with the tropics like we have the past couple of days or so. I kind of like this way of starting the video. And, again, this big area that is circled on your map here, this is that tropical wave that I'm watching for development here throughout this week. And it definitely has the potential to become something. Right now, again, it's just now getting off the west coast of Africa, but I want you to know where it's coming off of Africa at. Kind of the, I say center of circulation. It's really still an open wave, obviously, but kind of the axis of this circulation is south of these islands here, and that's generally what you want to see for tropical development this time of year. And I think as this slowly works into the main development region, we could see conditions that are favorable enough for this to form into something kind of in this region. And this is the area that we've been pointing out on the map. The Climate Prediction Center has been pointing out on the map, and just climatology kind of suggests that this is where we would see some tropical development. So we'll take a look at some models with that. Also, you'll note we've got a little bit of a spin here in the Gulf here. There's not a lot of precipitation with it, but that is also going to take a shot at something. We also have another wave behind it here. So a couple areas in the Gulf that I'm watching that could have some development chances, and one of them obviously looks a lot more impressive than the other. But both are moving into an area with extremely warm waters. So no matter what, we'll need to watch it. Also, some of our models are hinting at maybe something trying to get going here along the Central American gyre and trying to work its way up into the Gulf of Mexico. Again, a lot more questions than answers right now with really all of these threats, but I do want to mention them because, again, things are picking up here in the tropics. We've got a couple things that we need to watch out for. Now, as for the latest from the National Hurricane Center here, again, still just suggesting nothing is expected over the next 7 days. We'll see if that changes. Again, I think first, if anything, we'll get maybe an area in the Gulf from them to watch, just because, those are kind of more right now threats. And I say threats again, nothing really is expected right now, but there is at least a non-zero chance that something could try to develop there. So, they may try to add a little yellow area there this afternoon or evening. We'll see. But as of this morning, nothing from them on that front. But this is what has my attention, though. Our latest ensemble run from our European model overnight, again, now finally picking up on something a little more cohesive here in the 7 to 10 day range. And really that lines up perfectly with that forecast I was giving you. I said, again, the last couple of days of August into the start of September, this gets us into that time frame here from, kind of this time into next week or so. And again, we are seeing, an actual area. Now, these aren't just random spaghetti plots all over the map where one model is suggesting this wave might do something, one ensemble is suggesting this wave might do something. This is about probably half of the European ensembles that are suggesting, we could see some development here in 7 to 10 days. Also, you'll notice not a lot, obviously, but a couple members here in the Gulf try to get something going in that same general time frame. So we'll watch both of them. If we take a look at the GFS and its ensemble members, a similar story, but the GFS is a lot more excited about the potential for something in the Caribbean or the Gulf, and then is a little bit more sporadic with our wave in the Atlantic, but it's still picking up that, yeah, maybe something tries to get going in that general area in the same time frame. And I'll mention the GFS has less ensemble members overall, so you're going to see less members, but either way, the GFS is probably more of a 30% chance with this wave out here, where the European was probably more 40-50%. So definitely an uptick from yesterday. I don't want to call it a trend yet. Obviously, it's just one night of model runs. We'll need a day or two to see if this is really something that could, potentially develop in the models. But climatology says yes. The conditions over the Atlantic say it's definitely possible. And like I said, if we go back and look at satellite here just really quickly, this is it's a pretty impressive little wave out here, again, that's coming off of Africa. So watch it for sure, and we will do that for you. Now, we're going to start with the Gulf here on our models, just because, again, that's a little bit more of a current threat. Again, I use the word threat, but you know what I mean? That's more of a current, kind of problem, I guess is maybe a better word to use. But nonetheless, we have a little bit of vorticity out here. So I showed you on satellite earlier, we had some thunderstorm activity out here into the northern Gulf, and that's kind of what this area of vorticity is at 500 millibars. We're just kind of halfway up in the atmosphere, compared to how much mass there is, not necessarily altitude-wise, but mass-wise. Again, just some fun meteorology there. But again, we do have a little bit of spin here, and our models try to spin it up a little bit more over the next couple of days here as it moves generally towards Texas. Now, it's dealing with a good amount of dry air right now. And you saw that on satellite as well, where the storm was just kind of struggling to keep persistent, convection and thunderstorm activity. But again, it is enough of a spin that's moving over very warm ocean that we need to at least watch it with one eye. Again, we're not expecting any crazy development, and likely it would run out of time here by Monday. It would move over Texas, so not very likely to develop into anything. But behind it, we have another area of vorticity here at the mid-levels that is going to work kind of through these same areas. And again, this is what was that kind of big cluster of thunderstorms that are over the Bahamas right now. So this one behind it looks more impressive, definitely, on our current satellite imagery. And you'll notice it kind of gets into the Gulf here. It spins a little bit, but also just doesn't do very much. And then eventually just kind of hangs around and about a week from now moves into Texas or Mexico. So we have plenty of time to watch these things. Nothing is screaming right now to us that, we have big development chances, but it's enough that I want to mention it just because, again, I'm a big fan of never say never with the Gulf of Mexico anytime we're in tropical season. And that's something that you also should probably be a fan of, just given kind of how things have gone in the past. All right, so let's take a look at the Atlantic now, kind of a wide zoom here now that we looked at the Gulf. This is going into this next Tuesday and Wednesday, and here's our wave. This is the wave that's coming off of Africa right now, and the same wave that some of the models suggest may try to develop. Again, this is about 4 days or so from now, kind of here over the main development region. And note, again, look how far south it is. This is pretty far south, and generally the further south these waves come off of Africa, the higher chance they have of developing into something more notable. And if we move the European model ahead into time here, it definitely tries to do that. Again, you'll notice that storm system getting its act a little bit more together. And by the time we get 7 to 10 days from now, again, kind of right where those ensembles were developing it, again, still an open wave here, but becoming more organized for sure. I don't want to assume what's going to happen next, obviously, but there's a very strong high pressure to the north, so odds are that this would eventually get shoved to the west, at least towards the Antilles or Puerto Rico or Hispaniola. Obviously, again, so far away, I don't want to, tell you that it's going to go one place or not another, but generally speaking, this will, probably track west, but, how strong it is going to matter a lot. Exactly where do we get, the wave to, try to consolidate a little bit more. There's just a lot of question marks. And again, that's assuming it even forms. So that, that's also still a wild card on the table. But I will show you the Canadian model as well. This is the same general time frame here, getting about 7 to 10 days from now. And it does develop this wave into a closed low pressure system, probably a tropical depression or so here, getting into the first couple of days of September. Out here towards that main development region, and again, moving generally towards the Antilles for that first week of September. So that's kind of the latest on the tropics there. And again, I'll just show you this map again. I've been showing it the past couple of days. I'll show it again. Global tropic hazard outlook again in this time frame. This is why we listen to the experts. We don't listen to the models super far out, or we look at it for sure, but we don't take them verbatim. We don't take random people who have no idea what they're talking about for everything as well. But the experts here, they've been highlighting this area for a while now. They've been talking about it. They've said in that same time frame that the models are now latching onto, we very well, in fact, it's more likely than not that we would see development in that region. And now today, some models are latching on. Again, don't want to tell you that's exactly what's going to happen. It's not necessarily a trend yet. We're going to need to see a good day or two of more of the same to really lock the idea in. But again, just goes to show that maybe listening to the people who have done years of studying this are probably the right people to go to in these circumstances. So again, love this map. I think it's doing a great job and is really helpful to show you folks as well. All right, that is the tropics. Let's talk about back home a little bit too, because we've got some interesting weather ongoing here with the potential of some pretty good severe weather over the next couple of days. And that's something we'll talk about here. Now, we're taking a look at water vapor loop. Again, this does a great job at showing where our jet stream is. We've got a big trough out west. We've got a little bit of low pressure here swinging into Northern California in the mid-levels. Here's a little area in the Gulf of Mexico I mentioned. One here, another one here. We also have, again, kind of still this trough over the northeast that is bringing some cooler weather up there. And then this big ridge in between that is bringing those very warm temperatures into Texas and portions of the southern plains. Now, again, a lot of players on the map right now, a lot of players on the field. But all of it's going to kind of work together to put this forecast together. And the biggest kind of component of this, I would say, is this piece right here. This little bit of low pressure here is eventually going to move across the Rockies and eventually up into the Great Plains, where we're going to see a severe weather threat this weekend, as well as early next week as another storm system dives down out of Canada and once again could see a severe weather threat. So really a 1-2 punch here for you folks up north over the next couple of days. And we'll be watching that for you for sure. Now, current radar this morning, we do have some showers and storms through the Gulf Coast region, even off the southeast coastline from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Excuse me, sorry, there's something in my eye. And again, through those Gulf Coast states. Also pretty good little complex of storms here through the Kansas City area this morning, bringing some heavy rainfall and maybe even some gusty winds as well. And then again, some pretty good showers up through Northern California and even snow showers into those higher elevations as that trough and that low pressure move through. So again, the real winners this morning are kind of up here into the Midwest and the Northeast. A couple showers maybe into the UP of Michigan. Definitely let me know if you're watching from there, if you're seeing any rain. But overall speaking, a pretty tame map for what it could be. But, also I'll add for, August standards, it's pretty active. Now, taking a look at our current warnings, watches, advisories, we do have a pretty, it's kind of like if you've ever seen the Christmas cartoon with Heat Miser and Snow Miser, that's almost kind of what's happening here, but in August a little bit. We've got heat advisories and excessive heat warnings here for the, Central Plains, as again, that ridge is built over you and it has been really warm. But you see these blue colors in Nevada, these are actually frost advisories. Again, that big trough out west bringing very cold air with it, and we're getting down to freezing in some places, or at least close enough to it that some frost is forming in the morning. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's probably my favorite time of year to forecast weather, whenever the seasons begin to clash here and we get these big storm systems and one half of the country is experiencing one thing and the other half is experiencing something completely different. It's just something I find very fascinating. So super interesting there. Now, something that's not so fun, unfortunately, is we do have red flag warnings up from Montana all the way down through Las Vegas and into Wyoming. In fact, Idaho, I think, had some mandatory evacuations yesterday through some towns in that area. So again, unfortunate, and fire season is something that is just a part of life out here, but definitely has potentially been exacerbated a little bit by a changing climate for sure, and just unfortunate for you folks out there. So again, everyone putting them in your thoughts and prayers for sure. Now, east of the Mississippi, Not really much going on today. Again, it's quiet. We've got a couple showers and storms again in the south, a little bit of leftover river flooding in the Carolinas from Debbie. Again, just those rivers down there into the PD are just so slow moving and really swampy. It takes a while to get that water out of here. But again, pretty pleasant day east of the Mississippi. Most of the active weather is west of the Mississippi this afternoon, and that is included in the severe weather department here, where we do have a marginal risk up for Colorado through the Denver area, western Nebraska, down through the Four Corners, and then two other kind of baby marginal risks. This one for that complex of storms currently moving on through Missouri, and then another little area here through Oklahoma. So we could see a couple areas of severe storms this afternoon. Strong straight line wind, hail will be the main threat. Tomorrow we'll do it again, but things pick up a little bit here tomorrow. With a big time marginal risk out west and even a slight risk up into the northern Great Plains. And we even have a bit of a marginal risk here through the Detroit area, portions of northern Ohio and western Pennsylvania. And I'll be honest with you, I did not check ahead of time to see kind of what the mesoscale environment here is to create that, but we'll look at it together and figure it out. So that's tomorrow. Now let's start out west here with that forecast, again, just because you're kind of getting the brunt of the weather today. So this afternoon, again, that monsoonal flow is going to continue. Plenty of showers and storms through the Rockies, some of which could become strong to severe along those areas that we have those marginal risks. Some showers up through the Pacific Northwest, even some mountain snow here through Nevada and California. And when I say mountain snow, I mean really up on the mountains, not so much in the foothills, but again, some active weather there. And then we get this into tomorrow afternoon, another plume of moisture through the Four Corners. Again, could see severe weather out of this through the Four Corners into Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, up into the Dakotas, and even Minnesota Sunday afternoon. Again, we have a slight risk up into this region for Sunday afternoon. So I do expect some of those storms to become strong to severe, and then that gets us overnight into Monday, and that's as far out as this model goes. But you get the idea. Pretty active weather over the next couple of days out here out west. So if you're in any of those Storm Prediction Center outlooks, go ahead, take it seriously, and just assume you have the chance for severe weather. Now, through the east today, again, relatively quiet, at least today. We do still have those showers and storms moving down through Florida. Again, that stalled front, it feels like it's been there forever, but still holding on there. We could even see some showers and storms scoot up into the coastal areas of the Carolinas and Georgia as that front kind of meanders and lingers a little bit. That complex of storms back through the Ozarks this afternoon, again, could try to become strong to severe as it tries to kind of revamp itself up a little bit, but likely dying out by this evening. A couple showers could try to work into the northeast, but I think it's mainly going to be a Canada kind of problem there through Quebec and Ontario, seeing some of those showers work on through. And then we get through this afternoon and into tomorrow afternoon, and you'll notice here we have that marginal risk up for Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, but nothing showing up on this map. So let's do a little bit of detective work together and see if we can figure out exactly what's going on there. We'll use a different model here and see if maybe this can help answer our question a little bit more. So the last model I showed you was the high resolution rapid refresh model. This is our NAM model. Let's see what happens. Definitely a couple of storms trying to pop up on the NAM for tomorrow, but overall it looks like a very conditional threat, just meaning kind of boom or bust. So there could be nothing tomorrow, or we could get some stronger storms. I imagine there's probably a little bit of a short wave here moving on through. It's going to add a little bit of lift, and again, could see some stronger storms there in that region due to that, but we'll see. A very conditional threat for you folks tomorrow. So, definitely come back for tomorrow's video for an update on that. All right, high temperatures this afternoon. The theme this weekend is going to be warmer, warmer, warmer. So again, we had a very nice week through the east. Every day has gotten a little warmer, a little muggier. Then it's gotten a little warmer, a little muggier. That's going to be the trend through this weekend, and especially into next week, where unfortunately it's going to get hot again for a lot of folks. But this afternoon, widespread 80s and 90s getting back into the forecast here. Still holding on to 70s probably up into the northeast, but at least the interior northeast. But outside of there, again, things getting hot this afternoon. We get this into Sunday afternoon, more of the same. It's just going to be hotter and muggier day by day as we move this ahead into time, and that'll be the main theme here that we're going to want to watch out for temperature-wise. Now, let's take a look at what's on the horizon here. This is Sunday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, I guess. Again, at this point, we're still dealing with some low pressure over the Rockies, but look at this big ridge extending all the way up into Canada. This is going to start to bring that heat back to the east. And unfortunately, fake fall was only going to last forever, and we're going to see, some warmer temperatures. But watch what happens here in the future. We've got a couple storm systems to watch. This is the first one, again, bringing severe weather this weekend and early next week, but behind it, another big trough down out of Alaska and into Western Canada is going to try to swing on through, and that's going to be kind of the second punch. So again, a 1-2 punch, as I mentioned earlier. There's the first one moving through the Dakotas on Tuesday, and then a second area, this one stronger even, probably by the middle and end of this coming week through, again, the northern Great Plains, likely to bring some severe weather with it, and we'll want to track that for sure here as that moves on through the country. Then after that, in the long run, it's anybody's guess what's next. But again, we'll just kind of keep this in the next 7 to 10 days. But because of those storm systems, again, we've got some severe weather chances for a couple of days here. For day 3, this is Monday. Again, this is still really just the first storm system here, bringing some active weather through much of the Great Plains, even the Northeast having a big marginal risk here. The Northeast threat, again, you're kind of on the edge of that ridge. So this is more of a northwest flow kind of event for you folks. But this kind of slight risk in here is due to actual surface low pressure working on through for our Monday afternoon. And then we get into Tuesday. This is day 4, another area of potential severe weather. And this is a big slight risk for 4 days out, especially for August. Again, through pretty big time cities, Chicago, Gary, Indiana, Detroit, the entire thumb of Michigan, Cleveland, Erie, Des Moines, down even near the Twin Cities, much of Wisconsin. Again, we're going to see a pretty interesting severe weather threat here over the next couple of days. And if we take a look at some of our models here and try to just time this out for you a little bit, again, Sunday and Monday, we're going to see severe weather. This is Monday afternoon. You'll notice here's that first punch of that low pressure kind of working on through the Dakotas. That's going to bring some severe weather. Also, again, we're going to have some northwest flow here into the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. That could bring some severe weather Monday and Tuesday. You'll notice as that kind of swings on through here. But then we get into Wednesday and Thursday of this coming week, and here's that next area of potential severe weather. This is Thursday afternoon. We'll have to watch for more severe weather, this kind of second punch here, going towards the end of this coming work week. And then that'll likely swing on through the Northeast as well by next weekend before that's out of here. And then after that, you'll notice things could get active here with the way more rain kind of showing up on the map here. So we'll see what the long range looks like. But again, I'm feeling pretty confident in the severe weather threat over the next couple of days. The models are struggling a little bit with the ingredients here, but again, just know that severe weather is going to move through. These are just kind of severe weather ingredients on the GFS ensembles. You'll notice this is Sunday afternoon, Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, or this is really Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon into Friday afternoon. So again, you get the idea. A couple days of some ingredients on the map, and I think this will kind of uptick a little through the coming days as we get a little bit closer and the models get a little bit of a better handle on it. But again, just note that that is a kind of the theme here. Now, how muggy is it going to be? It's going to be pretty muggy. Again, we'll start with this afternoon. Still relatively nice this afternoon through portions of the east. Another nice day, but it's going to get a little bit worse day by day here. We get into Sunday afternoon. Still looks relatively nice for some of us into the Ohio River Valley and mid-south and northeast, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit here. This is Tuesday afternoon. You'll notice that muggy air returns a little bit. Wednesday afternoon, even more. Thursday afternoon, more. Friday, so on and so forth. It starts to get pretty muggy again. Now, in the very long run, I'm talking 10 to 15 days out, we'll see if we can get some more shots of drier air. But these storm systems look to be tracking pretty far north through Canada. So that's going to limit any real cold fronts getting far enough south to make a difference for many of us. But it could help for you folks up into, it's been a long week, the northern Great Plains here and into the Midwest. Could see a couple shots of cooler air. But all things considered, if we move this map ahead and look at this heat returning and in a big way next week, we'll stop this at next Wednesday afternoon. I mean, we've got temperatures back to 10 to 20 degrees above what they should be this time of year for many of us in the east. Again, fake fall was only going to last so long, and that heat, I think it'll last a while here unless we get some afternoon rain to kind of help. But you'll notice in the long run, again, there's signs that maybe a cold front could try to work on in, maybe bring some cooler air to the plains, the Midwest, we'll see. But for those of us in the southeast and the east, the mid-Atlantic at least, we'll probably have to wait a while for our next real shot of cooler, drier air. So, alrighty, folks, I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If If you did, again, please subscribe, like the video. It means the world to me and helps the channel kind of reach new people as well. And come back tomorrow. Again, we'll see what's going on with the tropics. I think also me and Mitch West from Mitch West Weather are recording a podcast episode tomorrow. So as long as that goes smoothly and there aren't any hiccups in that process, we should be good to release that tomorrow evening. So we will see, and I'll let you know. But y'all have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Get out there and enjoy it if you can, and I'll see you all tomorrow.